justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Dr. Romans, thank you very much. Thank you all again for being here today. We do have a quorum, and we will call this meeting of Commissioners Court to order. First up is citizens' comments. Do we have any? No citizens' comments. Item 1, consider and take action on previously held minutes from the previously held meeting of Commissioners Court on June 18th, 2019. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes as they are presented? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
So moved to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Giesling, second by Commissioner McCam to approve the Commissioners Court's minutes for June the 18th of 2019 as presented. All those in favor? Item passes. Item number 2, consider and take action to approve the Henderson County Fire Chiefs Association contract between Henderson County and the Fire Chiefs Association. Fire Marshal Rayburn.
Good morning, Court. This is just the normal contract that we do every year between the Fire Chiefs Association and the court. It's basically for upkeep of the training field and what they do out there. If you have any questions for me, I'll be glad to answer them. The only thing you see really different is the amount on there. And if you remember, the association chose to quit withholding the $300 for the people who didn't attend the meeting, so it's just always going to be the flat rate of the $9,000 now.
Questions for the Fire Marshal?
Well, that was my question. That was done, I guess, when I was not on court. That's $300. So
Yes, sir.
That will be the flat rate that was approved for this year.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
How many members do they have is just the fire chiefs a member of this association?
Yes, sir. So there's 23 fire chiefs that are members of this association.
And so none of the other members like captains or anything like that?
They attend the meetings, but from what I understand, the actual members are the fire chief.
And is that all all 23 fire chiefs dues, they pay their dues to this association?
I'm not aware of what their dues are. I know there is a dues that the association collects, but I'm not aware of what they are or who has paid or not.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Who owns the property where the training facility is located? Is it owned by the Fire Chiefs Association?
The property is owned by the city of Athens, and the association has a contract with or a lease with the city of Athens.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, entertain a motion.
Move to approve the contract for the Fire Chiefs Association with authorization for the judge to sign.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Giesling, seconded by Commissioner Tooley to approve the contract with the Fire Chiefs Association for 2019, giving the judge's authorization to sign. All those in favor? Item passes. Item number 3, consider and take action to approve spending $1,656 from the JP Courthouse Security Fund to purchase security camera equipment for the 7 Points facility. This is a project that had been discussed previously several months ago, and the IT department had been out to 2 locations at this point looking at the security stance at our satellite offices. And our IT director, Mr. Brock, if he wants to speak to the equipment that is listed in this project for the JP2 offices area.
Be glad to. How are you this morning?
Are you?
So we looked at JP2 office building, which is in 7 points. They have courtroom space, of course, or office spaces, sheriff's office area, and is tax collection as well as vehicle registration all in one. Judge McKinney asked me to evaluate it. I gave him a list of needs, several cameras, several indoor, couple outdoor cameras to cover all the ins and outs of the buildings, and that would incorporate all of the locations and cover those spaces. It would not invade anybody's privacy as far as, for sheriff's office. It's just mainly to see who's coming and going. Anything, interactions that happen in the hallways, that would be public space anyway. Those would be covered. And then, of course, it would be recorded to an NVR so that they would have connectivity to it so they could pull up videos and have access to the videos that they need. And I think also include the cabling, the box of cable for that building.
Many of you will remember, may not, but to rehash, back at the early part of this year, there was an individual that was causing issues at this particular location in the tax portion of it. Within a day, that individual was up here causing issues at this location. And of course, there is some type of security here versus what is those locations. And this was the logical step to take to begin forward with it. So.
Yeah, the tax collection facility there at 7 Points, I've been up there and it's pretty wild. It can be. So they definitely need some protection up there. And these locations are much needed. Thank you for doing that. I didn't know where we were at on that, so I'm glad you got to that point. I got to say.
You thank Judge McKinney for that. I'm just here to facilitate the equipment part of it. But yeah, I mean, as far as the planning, and I walked the facility with Judge Pollitt, made sure he was cool and felt good about where we put the locations of the cameras. Because you do have, sometimes they have attorneys come in with their people that are in court, and they don't want to get covered up with those.
Right.
I mean, but again, if you're in a public space, your public hallway, public outdoor area, I mean, that's covered. Unfortunately, just got to make sure you get where you need to be to talk with your client.
Yes.
So this will be inside and outside?
That's correct. There will be cameras also in the courtroom.
Okay.
For the thought process of if something does come down in the courtroom, which, as we've seen in the last several years, it seems like that pops up where people get upset about silly stuff. We wouldn't consider it to be a big deal, but it's their life. And they get upset and throw a fit or act out. We want to have record of it. And that's all it's for. It's not for, cameras do have a little bit of prevention, but it's for record keeping to know what happened and what we can do better. That's what it's really about.
I know this is for the 7 Points location, but have we also had anyone check the other annex in the Chandler location?
Yes, sir.
That's been looked at also?
That's correct, and that list will be coming probably pretty soon.
There has been direct discussion with the judge at that location as well.
I know those same kind of problems could happen at that location also.
Exactly the same mirror.
Any other questions? If not, entertain a motion.
Judge, I'd like to thank you for doing that and make a motion to take action to approve the spending of $1,656 for the JP Courthouse Security, purchase security camera equipment for the 7 Points facility.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Thomas, second by Commissioner Tooley to approve the purchase of security camera equipment from the JP Courthouse Security Fund for the 7 Points facility. All those in favor? Item passes. Item 4, consider and take action on contract for county public safety radio system. This time I'll pass to Commissioner Giesler for discussion.
As the court will remember, 2 weeks ago, we had a workshop to discuss the public radio system for the benefit of the audience. About 8 months ago, a committee was formed comprising of Commissioner McCam, Sheriff Hillhouse, Chief Deputy Halbert, Major David Falk, and Jody Vinchik of the IT department. On a humorous note, we talked in the meeting that we'd had 7 months, 8 months of discussions with various vendors. Commissioner McCam's comment was that he thought we'd been meeting on this for over a year. So that lets you know that it was a very laborious task. I think at this point, rather than myself bloviating about everything that we went through, I'd like to have Sheriff Hillhouse present a few points on our discussion over the last 8 months since he and his department are the primary users of the Henderson County Public Radio Network.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good morning, Court. The current system that we're using right now was put in 1974, 1975. It was a very up-to-date system when it was put in. And actually, one of the vendors that we spoke with about different options of what the county's options were, one of the engineers that we initially met with was the guy that put in the system back in 1975 here, Mr. Huffman. And we've been putting Band-Aids on that system since then. We tried tons of different things. We put repeaters in the cars. That didn't work. We took those out. And basically on a mobile unit, which is your in-car unit, our coverage is decent throughout the county. The portable coverage, when I was a patrol deputy in the early 2000s, it didn't work then and it still doesn't work today. You can hear traffic, you can hear people talking on the mobile radios, you can hear dispatch, but as far as if you needed to communicate back to dispatch, the portables just don't work. And if people are listening to what we call good time radio, like KCKL or something like that, if you can hear static, some days when you come to town and you're listening to that radio, you hear static. Well, if that radio is static, then our communications at the sheriff's office is also staticky. They have continued to narrow the bandwidth, and it's causing us to issue a communications contract, and that is what the committee thought was best for the best option that we had available at this time. And I think it's going to be a really good thing. It's a digital P25 compatible phase 2 network, and it's a 700 megahertz system, and that is basically for first responders. The 700 megahertz system is for first responders, and it's going to be a great system. We've met with, of course, we got down to basically a Motorola system or a Harris system. Both of them have great products. We went and visited locations of both of them. We just think that this contract is better fitted for Henderson County. And that's what we're asking the court to move forward with today.
Questions for the sheriff?
I know the old system can stay in place for a little while, the analog system.
Yes, sir. It'll stay in place for a while.
For a while. We don't know how long.
No, sir. We don't. We've got other things that we're looking at, but we're gonna because once the county does this, then the other municipalities that want to join the system are going to have to make moves and budgetary moves, and the fire departments are also going to have to make budgetary moves to join our system. Right. So we're going to maintain the analog system until everybody can get on board.
Okay. Thank you.
How long is the contract good? Is it a contract good for, or is it?
What's written in that contract is basically the system probably wouldn't take acceptance of the system until probably 2021, I believe. In 2022, maintenance starts, and then we've got 5 years of maintenance built in. So, and then we'll have to, after that 5 years of maintenance is there, we'll have to probably renegotiate another maintenance agreement with the vendor.
Another thing I wanted to say is being a past member of the fire department, but I want to thank y'all for doing a top-notch job. I think that when we go out, and I've already visited with a couple of fire departments, but I think Sheriff, I'm going to take you with me, or have him come to my office again and reiterate to them what we've done. But I want to tell y'all, thank you, the committee, for a job well done over the past 7 months.
Well, thank you. And I spoke with Commissioner Giesling yesterday briefly on the phone. And if the court decides to move forward with this, I am planning to set up a meeting with all the municipalities, the chief of police and fire chiefs, and also have the vendor there with us. And so they'll have options and know what their budgetary responsibilities will be. And then they can also have, if they have technical questions, we'll have people there to answer those questions for them too.
That'd be
So
great.
hopefully within the next month, if the court decides to move forward, that's what we'll be doing.
I just want everybody to know that we were looking at a system that's been in place for 50 years. And we could have done some things to that system to keep putting Band-Aids on it, but that option was around $2 million to just a Band-Aid that system that is eventually going to go away. And everybody knows the advances that's been made in technology over the last 50 years. And we wanted to look at a system that would move us into the next 50 years. And I think that's what we spent time doing, is trying to find a system that would be good for us for the next 50 years. Like the one we have has been good for the prior 50.
David, did you have anything?
Basically, when I started this system, this process, I wasn't very aware of what my role was going to be during this committee, and I found that I was going to be a good user side of it. So we went to MetroCrest up there with IT, and I was able to get with the radio communications guy there at Carrollton. He actually handed me one of the Harris radios, and I had access to it for the entire time we was up there. Checked out their dispatch system. They showed the ins and outs to IT. I believe it was a great system, and I agreed with everything that the sheriff has said, and I agree with the committee's recommendation for Harris.
Thank you, David. Jody? We also have a representative from Harris Communications, Jason LaForge. Do you have any questions of Harris, Judge?
The one question I have, and it's basically for the edification of the audience. Sheriff alluded to the narrowing of bands in the VHF range. Could you speak to that a little bit? The public may not understand why that push.
Sure. So, it's more in major metropolitan areas, but it also affects the entire United States because it's a federal law that gets passed. The initial narrow banding was you used to be able to operate a channel on 25 megahertz. So then they narrow banded once about 15 years ago, and they took it to 12.5 megahertz. The future will be what's known as phase 2 P25, which is going to cut that down to 6.25. That has not been mandated yet, but it will be mandated, so you guys will be on the front edge of the technology in terms of where you need to be in your bandwidth and your capacity of the system. The system also has LTE, which we integrate in the radio system with cellular technology. So their radios will be able to use AT&T or Verizon, whichever one you guys want to use. But you'll be able to use those cellular networks to communicate on your radio system. So the sheriff could be in a conference in New York City, something could go down here in Athens, and he would be able to get his radio, his actual public safety radio, connected into the LTE and be able to communicate back to Athens and listen to everything that's going on here. It also gives the ability to do push-to-talk over a cell phone as well. So in terms of the next evolution of technology, the system is definitely designed, and it's there. It's on the, I say technology moves too fast to start anywhere but ahead. So you guys are going to be on the forefront of it all.
And is it safe to say that this is building the platform for those advances in technology as far as communications?
It is. And our Vita Core, it's an open standard. So Harris is very big on open standards. So the good part about this system whenever you go to P25, your users in the field don't have to buy Harris radios. They can buy whatever manufacturer that makes a P25 compliant radio. And as we all know, competition benefits the users. You'll get better pricing, you'll get better service, but you're going to have that entire, you'll have that option to pick whichever manufacturer that you want down the road as well. But the infrastructure itself, yes, it does set the course to be on the very front edge of technology.
The equipment that is available, it's not just one radio or one type of radio, but many different types with many capabilities
Yes, sir.
that are available to function on this, and of course they vary in price. Is that correct? You have some of that more capable cost more than those that are less capable.
That is correct. So the radios at the sheriff's office are getting will do VHF, UHF, 7 and 800, so it'll operate on all those bands. It'll also do Wi-Fi. So if you have a building that you have problems with communications, and if it has a Wi-Fi router in it, you can connect to that Wi-Fi router and get back onto your radio system. And then we also talked about the LTE component that's also going to be in those radios. So the equipment itself is well advanced. In fact, the XL 200 radio that you're getting is the only one in the market that does LTE integrated into the radio itself. So you put a SIM card in the radio and it connects to the cellular networks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. One of the things that the sheriff said I wanted to clarify, it was to your answer, Commissioner Tooley. If the court chooses to sign contract today, the system would not be activated until the first quarter, thereabouts, of 2021. Therefore, as far as maintenance is concerned, that's the 5-year out. So we would not be negotiating a new maintenance contract with Harris until 2026, because the pricing in the document that you received under the service plan, that was a small 35-page document, not the 113-page document that you poured over this weekend, I'm sure. It's pretty explicit, and in the presentation it showed that the cost of that maintenance plan was about $269,000 a year. But if you look carefully in that service agreement, you will see that on the first year, which was 2022, that we'd be paying that, it's only $258,000. The 269 is averaged out over the full 5-year period. So that's where the 269 came from. If you look at those numbers, you'll see the last year is a little bit higher. I think that
Thank you.
should clear up the term length of the contract. Any other questions for us, Judge?
The overall cost is $4.5 million.
That is correct. The structure of the agreement, as the court knows, last year we budgeted $1.5 million. If we could reach the point where we're at today to sign a contract, we had budgeted that amount of money. Therefore, this contract is $4.5 million. So in this year's budget, we would be budgeting another 1.5, and the following year another 1.5, and then the system would be paid for. And then we have a year's worth of warranty, and that's when in 2022 the maintenance contract kicks in, and therefore we would be budgeting in 2021 for the 2022 budget that $258,000.
Any other questions? Well, again, committee, thank you for your work, your diligence, everyone that's put into this. It has been talked about for the last couple of years, but the last 7 months, there has been fast and furious activity and dedication on the committee, and I thank each and every one of you for the extra time that was put into this, the traveling to go and see, the 21 meetings, I believe.
Actually, that was true at the time of the presentation. We've had 2 more since then.
2 more since then. So, and these are not quick 30-minute meetings. So, thank each and every one of you for your service on that.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. With that, we come to the point of, is there any more discussion or questions before I call the item? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I move that we proceed with the signing of the contract with Harris Communications for the Henderson County Public Radio System. There are 2 documents there, the system purchase agreement and then the service agreement, with authorization for the judge to sign.
I second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Giesland, seconded by Commissioner McCann, to approve the contract and documents with Harris Communications for the delivery and maintenance of a county public safety radio system with the judge's authorization to sign. Any further comments?
Yes. As you may note, there's a person missing from the audience today that is normally always here when we're signing contracts, and that's our county attorney, Clint Davis. He's a bit under the weather, as we found out this morning. But I do want everyone on the court to clearly understand that Clint has conveyed to the judge that he has no issues with the contract. The contract has been in his hands for the last 2 weeks. He has reviewed and redlined the contract, sent it back to Harris. We had a meeting, I believe it was last Thursday, where we basically went through all of those red lines. Harris accepted all of the comments that the county attorney had and brought him to the point, as he said in the email to you this morning, he had no issues with the contract.
That is correct. County attorney reached out, giving his apologies due to his illness, but he said he was and had no issues with the contracts before us. So, any further comments? If not, all those in favor? Item passes. Thank you very much. Thank you. Item number 5, consider and take action on floodplain application and permit regarding Rayburn Electric Cooperative. Ms. Kimbrough.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. You should have received in a packet the application and supporting documentation regarding the floodplain application made by Rayburn Electric. We have today with us here in court the engineering team that did the study for Rayburn, also a representative of Rayburn ownership, and also the contractor responsible for completing the job out at Rayburn. The area that is being discussed is located, the location of the property is .333 acres and listed in Zone A, which is a floodplain of a 52-acre tract at 11579 U.S. Highway 175 West in Eustace, Texas. What was of specific concern regarding this particular permit is the fact that on the .333 acres, there will have to be a placement of fill to bring the land surface to the height or elevation that is supported in our flood damage prevention ordinance that's located on our, adopted by Commissioners Court and located on our website, our county website. So the part of the permit that specifically the court would be interested in, of course, besides the supporting documentation, the proof of ownership, et cetera, would be that this does comply, does meet the guidelines of the ordinance, and that while evaluating the flood hazards in the proposed development, these are considered reasonable and accurate evaluations for regulatory purposes and are based on the best available scientific and engineering data. Also, on rare occasions, greater floods can and will occur, and flood heights may be increased by man-made or other natural causes. Issuance of an exemption certificate or this permit in this case does not imply that developments outside the identified areas of special flood hazard will be free from flooding or flood damage. Also, the Henderson County Floodplain Administrator or any officer or employee or elected official of Henderson County in the event of flooding or flood damage, should that occur, is held harmless as under the terms of this issuance of this agreement. The contractor or work crew will be responsible for all safety plans for workers, contractors, and any other employees. In the event emergency assistance is needed from Henderson County, Texas first responders, 911 will be the appropriate 24-hour call number. All weather-related dangers will be monitored by the crew or assignees other than county offices. So basically what you have here is in your packet is your proof of ownership, a very concise rendition of what the area is and how much of that development is located in the floodplain. And I would like to interject here that when this project started, it's a 52-acre plat of land, and working with the owners, the engineers, and the contractor, they were able to reduce the size, the location of the 7-acre switch yard down to an area that only crosses into 0.33 acres of the floodplain. So I've been out there, there's not anything else they really could have done and stayed within their property boundaries. They also have submitted to the Federal Emergency Management Agency a conditional letter of map revision based on fill, which to date, that was submitted, I believe, the first part of June. And to date, we have not received any indication from FEMA that that clomber will not be approved. So there's always something that can happen, but so far, by this time, I believe, in my professional past, they've always had questions if there was something that they were going to have a question about. So, no, we do not have the clomber letter in hand, but again, I have no indication that that won't be approved. So if you have any specific questions regarding the detailed study or the other documents or any of the federal permits, I do again, Mr. Palma, if you'd stand up and just so I can introduce you to the court. This is Frank Palma. He's the lead engineer from R-Delta. Mr. Stephen Geiger, who is an engineer from Rayburn, but is here representing Rayburn ownership. Mr. Ian Gerber, who is the lead for the contractual unit. And then I also have Philip Smith here, who is a TBEC interested party. So if you have any questions for any of them, they'll be happy to address those, and if there's anything I can answer. Otherwise, I would ask permission to sign off on the actual permit itself and render it for filing with the court. All court fees and expenses for filing to be paid by the group seeking the application or seeking the permit. This permit would be valid for 1 year from today's date. Do y'all have any questions for these gentlemen?
Any questions?
The emergency plan, has it been
It's-
submitted
Yes,
by the
it's here.
contractor?
It's actually going to be a part of the filing. It's an abbreviated section of it, but it addresses what we needed to have addressed. So
Okay.
it's from Tricon Services.
Okay.
All of this is filed, by the way, in public records section in the county clerk's office. And that is done so that when FEMA comes to audit our program, not only do I have a copy ready, but we also have that available to the public.
Okay.
So there are, I don't even know how to describe the detailed study information that I'll take back to my office that's been available in the county judge's office for about 10 days for anyone to look at. Should there be any questions about that, I'll have those.
Okay. Commissioner Tootle?
I'll wait to respond
Okay.
last.
I have no question.
There are no questions from this end?
Oh, I just want to tell y'all, thank you for your due diligent work. Our Delta engineers and Rayburn Electric and Ms. Kimbrough, myself, and the Historical Commission was out on this property the day that the tornado was spotted, going from, I believe, Maybank through, or Kemp through Maybank that tore up the country club. And we was out on a four-wheeler, and I told them, I just got a signal, I'm ready to go. But anyway, I want to congratulate you on a great job of being able to move the project up and only affecting .333 of an acre. I think that Ms. Kimbrough's done her due diligence and all the paperwork is filed, and we look forward to, with the court's approval, to proceed with this project. So it was a interesting deal to me to go out there and see what they were going to do. This is going to be able to probably tie 5 electrical companies into this electrical yard, and will help with maybe lights out in some areas. So anyway, thank you, gentlemen, for being here today, and I have no further questions, Judge.
Ms.
Or comments.
Kimbrough, the official signature is based off of your signature?
Yes, sir.
Or, okay.
Yes, sir, it's floodplain administrator.
Okay.
Ms. Kimbrough, could you make sure for the record the 4 individuals that you introduced are provided to the county clerk?
Yes.
For the record?
Yes, I have their cards, and I generally collect those.
And one last comment. I mean, there is a significant purpose of you putting in this substation, is there not, is to tie into ERCOT?
Yes.
Because, I mean, we understand, I mean, this is really the floodplain issue, but, you know, lots of times for the audience, I didn't think you guys just wanted to put in a new substation because you had some spare money laying around, and that would be a cool thing to do and go through this whole process.
Yes, sir. So, Judge, Commissioners, I appreciate your time here. Stephen Geiger again on behalf of Rayburn. This project was mandated to us by our Electric Reliability Council of Texas. It was actually done March 14th of 2019. And I've got basically through the end of the year to get this project done. That's why, you know, there's been a mad rush, and the amount of work that she's done and the effort that she's put forth is tremendous. So, yes, basically what, in a nutshell, this project is tying 5 different transmission lines together in one substation transmission yard, and the purpose is for reliability.
The only thing I'll add is that we do have 2 more site visits I do to complete with any one of the representatives here. It'll most probably be the contractor with the notification of the 2 engineers that'll be on site just to comply with our ordinance. This is a large above-ground project, very, very different from a subdivision, or very different from anything similar to what we've done in the past, like underground pipelines, that type of thing. So again, these gentlemen have been very, very supportive and helpful. It has been a mad rush to get it done, but I don't have any reason to believe that we won't be able to complete this if we stay on our time track.
Thank you very much. Any further comments? Entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, seconded by Commissioner Tooley, to approve the floodplain application and permit regarding Rayburn Electric Cooperative and a switch yard at Eustace, Texas. All those in favor? Item passes. Thank you very much.
Judge, may I be excused with the
Yes,
guests?
ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Item number 6, receive financial reports. We have reports from JP 2 and 4. They are in your backup. These are available for the public for viewing in the county clerk's office after this meeting. Item number 7, consider and take action on payroll distributions and accounts cash sheet. Mr. Bynum?
Judge, we have no payroll or cash sheets for today.
Thank you very much. Item 8, consider and take action on submitted contracts. Ms. Nichols?
Good morning. I have the contract for UniFirst for the mat services for the county buildings and the uniform services for Precinct 1 Road and Bridge and Precinct 3 Road and Bridge.
Questions? The service agreement in the backup?
Yes.
Is
It's right behind it there, Judge.
directly with Henderson County for the shirts and the uniforms, correct?
Yes, the mats are at the bottom of it.
At the bottom of it,
yes.
okay. Previously, the reason I was looking at it, it's with our work to consolidate things, this is the first time that we've had the two on the same contract.
As far as I'm aware, yes, sir.
Okay, all right. That is the difference from previously that I wanted to point out. The mat service that we took a great deal of time to get an inventory, determine locations, and to set up a delivery method.
Yes.
Previously, when mats were delivered, they were at one location and dispersed out by maintenance.
At one point, it was like that. They would go to the locations. They might pick up 4 mats and only leave 2. Or they would leave all the mats in one area and not pick up any. It was just very...
That was the previous contract.
Yes,
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 previous
that's
contract.
what started
And
this whole new program.
In this instance, though, they are to be delivered to each location.
Yes.
And to be signed for gives us a better accountability by this change in method. So, any questions concerning this contract?
To me, this asking for this uniform, UniFirst, the previous contractor failed to deliver their product, and so I gave them some warning, gave them some last chances, several last warning chances. Never did change, so I've asked for another vendor, and so it would be serving Precinct 1 uniforms. And they've already came out and got it started by looking at our uniforms and what we have, by doing some measurements.
Okay.
Ours was the same problem in Precinct 3. I mean, we just wasn't getting the service we were paying for. It's like, leaving 4 mats and picking up 2. It's leaving 4 shirts and picking up 5, and leaving no shirts. We had to look at something different.
Any other comments? Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the contract.
And I'll second.
Any need for signatures?
Yes, sir.
Judges?
Yes, sir.
Signature.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, second by Commissioner Thomas, to approve contract with UniFirst for uniform and mat services with the judge's authorization to sign. All those in favor? Item passes. Any other contracts, ma'am?
No, sir.
Thank you. Item 9, consider and take action on right-of-way permits.
There's one at Precinct 3.
I have one in Precinct 3. It's from Tocklin Oil and Gas Corporation. It's an underground bore for a power line on a new well site for an oil well on County Road 3416, which is just, it's my last road on 314 just before Moore Station. And the company has already done a good job taking care of the road. It was basically a recycled asphalt road that goes up dead ends, and they've done a good job taking care of it. I'd like to grant them this right away.
Questions for Commissioner McCam? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that we grant the right of way to Tocklin Oil and Gas Corporation to bore under 3416.
Second this motion.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, second by Commissioner Giesland, to approve the permit for Tocklin Oil and Gas Corporation for underground bore on County Road 3416 with the Commissioner's authorization signed.
Authorization to sign, and I also have the check that I'll give to the traders.
Thank you. All those in favor? Item passes. Item 10, consider and take action on submitted budget amendments.
No budget.
No budget amendments. Item 11, consider and take action on payment of bills.
Yes, sir. This week I need approval on bills totaling $192,825.19.
Questions, Commissioner Thomas?
I had some before court and she answered them. Thank you.
Commissioner Tootley?
I have none.
Commissioner McCam?
I have none.
Commissioner Giesler?
See, we're paying two of the volunteer fire departments, Chandler and City of Athens Fire Department. Where does that bring us?
Those two are 16 that we have paid.
16 out of the 23. Well, we're moving right along, considering. I don't think, Judge, I had anything else.
Okay. Hearing no further questions, I entertain a motion.
So moved, Judge.
To approve.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Giesland, second by Commissioner Thomas to approve the bills as presented. All those in favor? Item passes. Item 12, consider and take action on submitted plats.
No plats.
No plats. Item 13, open and consider bids.
A couple of weeks ago, I came in and presented the specs to the court for the 2019 solid waste disposal services. And at that point, it was asked to make it a 3-year contract with a cancellation clause and to add a couple of things on the response form. I've made those changes and adjustments. I just need approval to send out the invitation.
Questions?
I have none.
I have one.
Yes, sir.
We've got the rental cost of the open top, got the, with scheduled pickups, we've got the rental costs. But down at the bottom, we have 4 rental costs. Down at the bottom, we've got haul costs with scheduled pickups, and I don't want to see this back in court again, but I think recycling needs to be there so that because the other is the rental cost of the box.
Right.
Down at the bottom, we need the haul cost of the recycling. Don't we?
If you want it separated, we can. And this may be because this is my first time to do it, but I was under the impression that the cost to haul it off would be the same, whether it's recycled or not. And I don't know. I mean, I
don't know either.
Completely wrong.
I don't know. I think we better delineate it due to the fact
Right.
we don't have such a cozy relationship with China as we did when this contract was negotiated many years ago. And they were the primary country that was buying recycling. They were bailing it and shipping it. So the cost could become an issue. So just do it 2 more times, stating recycling. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Go down at the bottom.
Any other
I
comments?
think she could add that without coming back to court, couldn't you?
I was hoping.
Yes, sir.
Do you want an official action on this, or?
Don't need one, no, sir. As long as it's approved for me to send it out without bringing it back to court, I'll make those adjustments and get them out by the end of the week.
Any other questions?
No other questions.
Are you gonna, well, you're gonna stay on the deadline of July 9th?
I will have to extend that to July 16th, just for the fact that we have to have it posted for a minimum of 14 days, and the deadline to get it in the paper has surpassed for the ad, and it's got to be posted 14 days. So it'll be set back 1 week.
That will
I'm
not,
sorry, I forgot to mention that.
that will not cause an impact to the term.
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Item 14, consider and take action to adjourn.
So moved.
And I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley, second by Commissioner McCam to adjourn. All those in favor? Passes. Thank you very much for being part of today's festivities. We will be continuing in the workshop here very shortly, budget workshop here